All right, we're going to leave Chelsea there for the time being. In other news, Ange Postecoglou took your boys to the cleaners, didn't he?
You said you were gonna put it in slowly, bro.
Look.
Now, look.
Let's just get straight to the
No, no,
straight to
no,
brass tacks.
no, 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 no. Let me start off with this before we get into what's been headlining about us. I think in the first half, the first like 20 minutes, we actually did okay. We brought a bit of intensity to the game, but I feel like Tottenham sort of invited us in a bit just to. I think Tottenham was still trying to figure themselves out too, to see how they wanted to play against us, whether the counter will work. And there were a few early chances, from Spurs, in behind, and their passing into from the middle to the final third was really good. They were really sort of getting those balls in behind really well, but it wasn't happening that frequently in the first half. I think we had the ball up in our half a lot more, and we were controlling the pace of the game, though Basuma was doing really well to sort of like do as much as he could and, not keep Bruno out of the game, because Bruno had a pretty good first half as well. I think, but then I'll talk about the second half, but Basuma came out in the second half and blitzed it. I think the front third, in terms of our wingers, a bit of an issue. I think we went into that game having not changed a single player from the Wolves game, and I was concerned from that. And I think Eric Ten Hag was thinking, it was just the first game, jitters against Wolves, but you just. I don't think getting dominated. I think getting dominated by a team like Wolves doesn't really shouldn't allow you to sort of have that excuse to say, we're fine. Our players, it was just like I said, just a matter of the jitters. Yeah, I agree that our midfield could have been changed. Our front third could have been changed. I think our back four was actually pretty decent, and I think, like I said, in the first half, they did pretty well. I think we were just playing jelly pretty well together as a whole. Like, I think Rashi was doing pretty well in terms of his techers, and getting into some sort of spaces, but he just didn't. It was just a bit too congested. Now, look, look, that was really hard for me to say, because I went into this episode thinking there would be a lot of good things to say, and I did have a lot to note. And like I said, to start off this segment, let's start with the good positive signs. But I think the what happened in the end just
Yeah.
completely outweighed all of the positives and just made it look. Yeah, we looked back to there was the themes that occurred in the Wolves game came up quite predominantly in the game against Spurs. Now, whether it's because of how good Spurs were, I'm not sure. I think Spurs, like I've been saying, are going to be a good team this season under Ange. But yeah, it just real. What did you think about, like, Spurs, this how Ange plays, and versus like how United can go in terms of, like in the matchup and against them, and like whether or not we could have done better.
All right. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I watched just about the whole game, but I was severely drunk. So I don't know if it was actually Basuma and Sa, or if that was Xavi and Iniesta, or if your midfield just did not work. Like, were they actually that good or at dismantling your midfield, or does your midfield work? Is what I want to ask you.
I think Sarr and Basuma played exceptional games. Sarr's goal showed Spurs' strength, like in terms of their ability to press, as well as as well as counter. Like they showed both. They can do both for sure.
Yeah.
They could get numbers in the box. They overwhelmed our defense quite easily. I think the goal that involved Kulusevski's assist, the cross in, wasn't dealt with good enough. I think Shaw stepped away, not stepped away from the defender, but didn't step up. He relied on Garnacho. Oh, it was it Garnacho that was defending.
I believe so.
Yeah, it's Garnacho that it was actually. Yeah, Garnacho defending Kulusevski. Shaw sort of didn't step up. And the cross to the. Anyway, Martinez basically was covering Richarlison, and there was no one in between Kulusevski and Richarlison. So Shaw was just in no man's land and was just lost. And like I'll bring it back to how our defense got overwhelmed. It was just a big old mess. And I think defensively, there are some elements in which we're really good, but there are some that are really poor.
Well, you did say earlier that your defense felt half decent. So is the reason they're getting caught out like this because they bypass the midfield too easily?
That's a very, very good that's a very good analysis there.
The defense can be as good. Like Martinez and Varane can defend out of this world, but if they have no protection from the midfield and they're being constantly battered for 90 minutes, then they're gonna let stuff through.
You're bang on. I think you're right, mate. And yeah, you're right because it draws out our centre backs and it makes them have to commit to potentially, like I said, stepping up to a midfielder who especially with Ange Ball will be penetrating to the box and then will leave open a centre forward. It's like the way Ange plays confused us a lot, and we just weren't prepared. And like I said, I think in transition we was just so poor. We were just so poor, man. Like in the first half, we were a lot better. In the second half, we just couldn't cope. And yeah, I just feel like that midfield just didn't help with those efforts. Casemiro was okay. Mount, on the other hand, is not. I don't want him starting next game.
Okay,
But we don't. But in saying all of this, we got Eriksen, but Eriksen was even making mistakes when he came on.
yeah.
Whether because it was against Spurs, I don't know. But Eriksen, literally, we were so lucky off one of his mistakes. He was trying to cross the pitch with a pass and just slipped, miskicked the ball into one of the Spurs forwards' path, but then they didn't anticipate a ride, and the ball bobbled on back to us, thankfully. So in saying all of this, the reason why I seem so muffled about what I'm saying about this game is because I seriously just do not know what the fucking problem is. I am constantly trying to read this team. I'm constantly trying to figure out where we can improve. Anthony is a winger whose strength is his defensive work rate, which makes no fucking sense. You've got Garnacho, who should have started the back end of last season that just fucking wasn't. And now that he's getting his start, he seems like he's in deep water because at the end of the day, he should have been fine-tuned towards the end of last season. We knew where we were going to finish. We knew we weren't going to make a run into the title, right? This season could have been that, but it wasn't. In the window, in the market, we've done nothing. Absolutely no. We've got Højlund, sure. I understand that. We've got Højlund. We've got Mount. Mount isn't a title winning player. I'm sorry. He's just not. Højlund is going to be a starting striker straight away, but put him in any other top 3-4 team. He's a sub striker. That's simple as plain and simple. Even for Chelsea. I'm sorry, but even for Chelsea, Højlund has only scored against the bottom grade Serie A teams at Atlanta. That's what everyone's doesn't realize as well.
Yeah.
The only clarity I get with this team is pointing out their weaknesses. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to point out the positives. I'm literally reading through my notes now, and the best I can get is Rashi with a delicious nutmeg. Should have been a pen handball easy. It's all these half chances. It's all of these chances in which we are heavily reliant on either referees' calls or 50-50 chances, right? When we're comfortable in possession, great, all good, but we don't convert. We don't have a forward to plug in those goals. Bruno Fernandes' post-match interview was all about getting the first goal and how important it is. I get it. He put in a lot of balls into that box. He created a lot of chances in that first half, but he was nowhere to be seen in that second half. He was absolutely nowhere to be seen. Basuma and, like I said, Basuma and Sarr, that midfield duo, absolutely destroyed our creativity because those boys, Mount and Bruno's defensive work rates were shocking. Was just shocking. Like, Bruno in that game, I don't know whether the boys just got outpaced. I don't know whether they just got cooked. I don't know whether Ange is a genius. I don't know what to take from this game. And that is what is scaring me. Like, that is literally because like I said, going into this season, I thought on paper, yeah, Mount's defensive work rate has been good in the past. It's just a question of whether or not he can be a proper two-way player, and that's what we needed, and it's proving that he's not that.
Well, he was never that at Chelsea. He was he played on the wing primarily at Chelsea, the wing or in the 10, and a big part of his game was defending from the front, so pressing the defenders. That was a big part of his game, not sitting next to Casemiro and trying to defend and block passing lanes, and I feel like it's tough, but I struggled to see how Eriksen was much better than that, but somehow that worked.
Yeah, no, you're right. It seemed more balanced.
Yeah. So what I'm going to ask you is, I know you said you want to see something change.
Yeah.
Next game, like a change in the lineup, but also what I also want to ask is if this is going to work, don't you want to see him stick it out and try and make it work? Because Mason Mount's not going to become good if you just drop him. He's not going to integrate into the system and get that midfield working if you drop him. Yeah. Right? And I want to ask you, last season, you didn't have a great start. And then slowly Ten Hag sort of got his system working. And now this season, he's got more players that he wants. He's got Onana, so he can start passing out of the back a bit more effectively. Yeah? Okay, you're itching.
I was just about to say that. De Gea's fucking gone. De Gea's gone and we're in the same fucking position. And I am still fucking disgraced over the way that guy was treated. And I understand I had my reservations about him too. This guy didn't get a testimonial. I don't even think he got a goodbye on the Instagram page. Like, he literally just got thrown out that door. He was the scapegoat. Simple as that. To what I saw. We've got the distributor now. We've got the passer in Onana, right? And don't get me wrong. He's an amazing, he can actually really pass well out. In the first game was a bit shaky. But then in this game, he was actually he was okay. It was not bad. He actually wasn't too bad. But to progress the ball after that, there was 4 or 5 really good chances we had, but that's about it. Back in the day when United, pure United electrical counter-attacking play like that, once the ball gets into the keeper's hands and it was quick from the keeper to the midfield, we did that. There was at least 15 instances a game. That's why, especially in the last 10, 15 minutes. That last 10, 15 minutes against Tottenham was pathetic. There was no belief. In the 85th minute, keep in mind the amount of stoppage time minutes there's been consistently at the start of this season, between 5 to 10 minutes each game, essentially, right? There may have been some 4, 3 minutes, whatever, but on average it's been between 5, 10 minutes. At the 85th minute, these boys act like they're already lost. There's still 10 minutes left in that game at least, and these guys literally they packed it in. They didn't care. They literally did not give a fuck. Rashford, thank God that guy got subbed off. Seriously, he was providing nothing at all. He was cut over the fact that he's playing through the middle. He wants to play on the wing. I understand that, but I'm sorry. There are so many parts in this team that just don't fit well together. It's not a perfect fit. Like Anthony, honestly, I don't know about that guy, man. I seriously don't know about him.
Here's the question that I want to ask, right? Like I said, at the start of last season, it wasn't working too well. Ten Hag, there was a point where we were saying you were title contenders. You were making a charge towards the title, right? So obviously during the season, he got it working. Now he's got some of the transfers that he wanted.
Yeah.
Right? Now, do you stick with the team? Maybe not the attack. Maybe you can move the attack around a little bit. Maybe Sancho can come in. Start on the right. Maybe Anthony gets dropped. Maybe Rashford gets moved out wide. Martial, I don't know if he can.
No. Fuck no.
No. Can someone else play the 9?
No.
Sancho?
No.
False 9?
No. He's
All
not
right, well,
a false 9. He has to be able to fucking pass. He has to be able to run up and back. When I think of a false 9, I get it. Karim Benzema, one of the best centre forwards to grace the pitch in the last 20 years for sure.
Yeah.
But like in terms of the way he plays that position, that centre forward, especially with the way we play out from the back, I think needs to run up with the wingers, in line with the wingers, and I just don't think Sancho has the legs for that. Martial definitely doesn't at all. He's lazy as all can be.
Maybe your attack's waiting for Højlund to come in. Hopefully he can do a job better and then Rashford gets his position back. Don't know what happens out on the right. Maybe Sancho can do the wing.
Nah, look, Sancho needs to. I think
maybe Mason Mount can go to the wing.
That's what I was trying to say
what he's
about
bought for. Yeah.
These parts and how this squad just doesn't fit together. It's because that right wing role, we have so many players that can play in that position. It's a joke.
But
it's
no
an
one works.
absolute joke. But no one works in this system. No one works in this system, and I just don't know what we're gonna do.
But look, the main question I'm trying to ask you is, last season, over time, Ten Hag got it working. Now he's got the bits that he wants. Do you keep the team the same and let him try and figure it out again? Do you stick with, especially the midfield mainly, do you stick with that and try and get it working rather than chopping and changing already? Because this is clearly the system, now that he's got these players, is slightly more how he wants it compared to last season.
Yeah.
So do you give him time to now implement this system again with these new players? Or do you chop and change already?
I think, I agree with you how the difference between this season and last season is he's got the players that he needs to sort of, deliver his philosophy. Though, if this is the trends of things, next season? What if, we finished this season strong? Okay, let's have a look at this team now. How old's Varane? All right. He's 30 years old. Let's wait 2 seasons. He won't be the same player he was. Casemiro won't be. Okay, let's get another holding midfielder. Well, how long is he going to need to transition into this team? We need Højlund to come in now. Let's see how long that takes for him to transition. Garnacho, we don't know what he's going to become. Mount, who fucking knows? Seriously, like, I can't even... my head is just down constantly now because I'm really, like I said... Like, I'll come back to your point. Do we give it time? Yeah, I'll give it time, but we're never going to be competing for the title in that case. We just won't be. We just won't. We've got Champions League coming up as well.
All right. If
we're signing Johnny Evans again.
All right. Real quick.
Yeah.
If you're Ten Hag, you pick the lineup for next game. What's your lineup?
I'm not even happy with it.
You've got Forest.
Lineup.
You've got Forest, and let me tell you, Forest isn't a pushover team. But pick your lineup.
This is what I mean. I'm scared.
Yeah, you don't know what to do. Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how this is going to change. Basaka's amazing defensively. I think he's stepped up heaps in terms of his attacking game. He does so well in terms of what Ten Hag wants out of his fullbacks. But again, it's like, do we because of everyone else on that pitch, can he start? Do we need Delo in there because he's again, Delo's quite similar, like in terms of his attacking presence too. Like he can really do well in terms of his attacking threat, but I'm just confused, mate. I'm just confused because you put Delo in there and then we're vulnerable on that right side defensively. Sure, nowhere near what he needs to be as well. He's not delivering enough balls in. We're not. I don't think. Because Mount's on his side too. He's not finding him enough. Mount completed like, I don't even. Let me see how many passes he completed in the time he played. He completed 15 passes in 85 minutes as a midfielder.
Yeah. His stats weren't great. 0 chances created, I think, something like that.
So Garnacho on Mount's side too was suffering because of that too. So you've got all of these Hail Mary passes going to Garnacho. All the emphasis is going through Bruno, and if Bruno isn't up there to create chances, we're nullified up top. But because of Tottenham's press in the second half, Bruno had to push back, so we couldn't do anything going forward.
27 touches in 85 minutes is not ideal for your midfielder. 0 out of 1 successful dribbles, 2 passes into the final third, 1 out of 2 accurate crosses. Look, and then you're talking about his defensive output: 1 block, 3 ball recoveries, 2 dribbled past. It's not ground drills 1 out of 5. Aerial drills 1, 0 out of 1. Fouls committed 1, was fouled 0. Look, I get the defensive aspect not a part of his game, but that's what he's being asked to do here.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know if look, he was never used like that at Chelsea. Is what I'm saying. Maybe it's worth trying him out in the wing.
Yeah, nah. Look, at the end of the day, I think he might be.
Maybe give it a couple more weeks. See if you can get this midfield clicking. But then I don't see what you got to lose by trying him out there.
Yeah, no, you're right, because at the end of the day, Anthony was on there for the first 66 minutes and created 1 chance.
Well, real quick though, I do want to give some credit to Tottenham.
Yeah,
and Ange. They played well. Basuma had a blinder. Madison does Madison things. He did, however, leave the stadium on crutches.
Yeah,
in a boot.
Like we're talking about precautionary things before.
Yeah. Precautionary, but we'll see if anything comes of that. But yeah,
I think. Look, Spurs under Ange is going to do really well, and that is a great example of how much movement Tottenham have made in the market. Haven't been spent a bit, but they haven't been splashing cash around on highly reputable players. They've brought in players that that can play a really good role in his squad. Like Sarr, that was honestly, like, I think that was just a smart move on his behalf. And then the way he makes, even your Romero's look and like even in the first game when they played Brentford, like with bringing in Madison as well, and just understanding like what Madison's going to bring in terms of creativity and the way they press up high, and Madison in terms of bringing in how many balls into the box per 90, like he's going to create chances, and that's what Ange needs. He needs a hectic, chaotic game, and that's what he got against us in the second half, and yeah, they just ran over the top of us.
Yeah, well, I think and Postecoglou will slowly, and like over the due course of the season, start to find problems with where do the goals come from? Because yes, he scored 2 goals, got 4 goals in 2 games,
Yeah.
but I think none of them have been from Richarlison. So I think unless they sign another striker, they're going to struggle to find where those goals come from.
Oh man,
But yeah,
it's like,
we'll
but
see.
that's
There's still time. There's still time to get a striker in. You never know. Lukaku, take him off our hands.
Please, for the love of God, for you guys, man. Honestly, I might just start supporting you guys. I'm fucking over it.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like I was going.
Do you want to take Lukaku back? You need a striker.
Oh, fuck that guy. No, I don't even like they've zapped the energy from me. Like talking about this. Like genuinely zapped it from me. Like in my I'm literally. This is me. I'm being serious. Like I'm being genuine right now. I can't. Like this is just fucked. Like I was watching that game, and I thought I was gonna lose my voice. If I'm honest with you, man. I'm just yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Well, it's been a rough week for both our teams.
You guys, honestly, like you said, I think your game was a bit different. Think there was just the scoreline made it look worse, and the scoreline with us just made it look better for us. But I don't think I wish.
Yeah,
I think we could have gone down by 3.
Look, it's better than losing 2-0 to like Wolves or something, because that could have happened.
I know it could have happened. Yeah, I know.
But
it could have happened.
At least you scraped a result out of that, and then look, losing 2-0 to Tottenham, it's not. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen, but it's not the worst thing to happen.
No. I'm sorry. I don't mean to take anything away from Ange and Tottenham. I think they played really well.
Yeah, you're saying you just don't see any progress with your team.
No,
basically.
No, I just don't. And you see it with Spurs. You see it with Spurs, and you see it with Ange, and you see belief in their squad, and there's just none in ours. There's none in ours at all. I think you've got. I don't want to blame anyone, but. At all. I'm not blaming anyone in saying this. I'm just stating facts here. Varane, Martinez, World Cup winners. Simple as that. You've got up top, Rashford, who had a blinder last season. He's probably thinking, nah, I've given enough. You know what I mean? You got Anthony coming through on a high-profile transfer, bleaching his hair every second day. I just feel like, in terms of hunger, it's just not there. Like in terms of where the priorities lie, I think like they're just too caught up in all the bullshit.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I think Ange played it well. I think Ten Hag will get it clicking in the end. Whether it's moving Mount out wide and bringing Brat Tomine in. I think doing that worked somewhat last season, and it got you into a title challenge at one point.
Such a good point.
So yeah, I think he's a good enough manager to keep you in it. If it's he'll stick with this midfield for a bit. If it's really not working, he'll change something.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Like the what's it called? The Matilda's coach just didn't change thing.
Yeah, let's hope next game. Yeah, there's some changes at least. Tactic.